Hey everyone, this is GMorro, and this is my first episode of Animals in Gaming. In this series I'm going to take a look at animals in some of my favorite video games, because, it's not often that anybody really stops and takes a look at the animals that developers put into games as maybe as enemies, maybe sometimes as window dressing, something to make your environment seem more real. I'm probably going to do this mostly in open world games like this one. This is Fallout 4. Yeah, anything can happen, like Piper complaining. But I'm hoping this can be something that people like and watch a lot of. Now, as a disclaimer, I am not a world-renowned biologist. I am a wildlife technician, which means that I've spent a good deal of time outdoors, researching animals, working around animals. I've worked directly with animals in pet stores, in humane societies. I've got about 10 years of experience in that regard. And I'm not claiming that everything I say about the animals in games is going to be true or, close to the mark. I just thought it'd be a good idea to get out there and speculate maybe about what the developers were thinking when they created the animals, maybe the nature of the animals themselves, that kind of thing. In this episode, I'd like to take a look at two animals in Fallout in particular. One is the Radstag, which is sort of a mutated deer, and the other is everyone's favorite wasteland death machine, the Deathclaw. Okay, here we go. Here's the first of the animals we're looking for. This is the Radstag. Now, I try not to follow gameplay of games or trailers too closely before they come out because I don't want things spoiled for me. I did not know that this was going to be in the game, the Radstag here. And the first time I saw one, it jumped on me from behind and attacked me, which is strange because everyone I've seen since then has been pretty docile. Now, I think these ones, the Radstags, it says in a lot of online materials that they're based on deer, but they look a lot more like elk to me. They have that kind of furry mane in the front that's more typical of elk than deer. They're also a lot darker. Now, that's not to say they couldn't have been mutated to look like this, but to me, especially with Bethesda games, whenever they put deer into games, it seems like they're based more off of elk. Like in Skyrim, they're obviously much more similar to elk. Deer are smaller, they're a little lighter colored, their heads are a little different, they don't have this furry mane around their necks there. They're really, really very creepy. Probably one of the more... oh shit, okay. One of the more docile animals you'll come across in Fallout. One of the few that won't try to kill you immediately, but still, if you ran into this in real life, creepy. Look at those eyes. Those are the eyes of a killer. Or, killers run away too. They've got those two legs sticking out in front, which I guess maybe the way these things are born is that the deer that birthed the first ones, maybe the embryo was a twin and it fused, and now due to a mutation, every egg that these things have fuses with another and they form twins. Kind of a, Siamese twin kind of thing, but twins nonetheless. It says in a lot of the lore that each head is capable of independent movement, so it's not like one of the heads is just a tumor that doesn't do anything. And that's got to lead me to think that provides kind of an advantage. I mean, when you can look around, one head looking at the predator, one head looking where you're running to, that's got to be pretty useful. And to survive this wasteland, you need adaptations like that, so I'd say that's a pretty useful adaptation. Two heads, each capable of seeing and moving independently. And that's the Radstag. Now I gotta go and find a Deathclaw, which is considerably harder. It only took me a few minutes to find the Radstag. So here we are in the glowing sea. I've left Piper behind because, well, she tends to shoot at things that I'm trying to watch, and Also, I feel bad taking her into this place. When I did the mission that you have to come through here for, I didn't have a hazmat suit or anything for her, and she complained the whole time, so I felt really bad. So decided to just leave her back this time. Actually, in this playthrough, I tried to romance her, but I got friend-zoned real hard. It's kind of depressing, but oh well. Before I run into one, I guess I'll give a little background on the Deathclaws. It says in the lore that they were mutated from Jackson's chameleon, which are pretty popular in the pet trade these days. About a medium-sized chameleon. They get, I believe, about a foot long. Oh, Jesus. And, oh, hold on. They don't really resemble chameleons, I guess, because they're mutated from a whole bunch of animals. Not just chameleons, but they don't act like chameleons much either. Chameleons are typically slow-moving, you know, they target an animal and attack from a distance with their tongue, which is about the length of their body. And Deathclaws, of course, they tend to be a little more in your face. I think I see one over there now. Yep, there we go. One thing that struck me was that Deathclaws are, they walk on their hind legs. I never really see them on all fours. Sneak. Okay, here we are. Alright, yeah, as you can see, they walk on their hind legs, kind of like a dinosaur, which is pretty strange for a lizard. Lizards and most reptiles have legs on the sides of their bodies, which allows for a lot of stability, but it makes walking on your hind legs pretty hard when you have a body structure like that. So I'm a little skeptical that they'd be able to do this, but you know, it's a game. Holy, that's a legendary Deathclaw, so I'm gonna back up a little bit. Holy hell, there's two of them. Alright, as I was saying, we can see the attack strategy there. It just clawed its prey to death, and now I'm running. Oh god, okay, well, you know, please leave me alone. I am not your father. Oh god. Why do you hate me? Please stop. Oh god, why? Oh, yeah, you better run. Okay. As I was saying, the body structure is very interesting, very different from a chameleon. The tail is much shorter. Chameleons have very prehensile tails, strongly prehensile. They can coil them up like a spring almost. And, I don't know, you know, if anything, I would have thought that Deathclaws would have mutated from something like more an iguana or an agamid lizard. Or, you know, maybe even a monitor lizard, given their predatory nature and the length of their claws on them. I'm a little closer now, and I don't think he sees me. Oh, obviously he doesn't see me, otherwise I'd be ripped apart, but I got a good look at him now. As I was saying in the lore, Deathstalkers were created. They weren't mutated just by random chance like some of the animals out here. They were created in a lab, I believe, before the Great War. They were going to be used as weapons for the military, and I think they would have made pretty good weapons. They're kind of like a mix between a raptor and like a tiger or something like that. Their attack strategy is pretty much just to pounce on something and wail on it with their claws until it dies, and, you know, as strategies go, it's got the muscle to back it up. They're about 9 to 10 feet tall, and according to the lore, they live in packs of up to 8. Thankfully, in the actual game, you don't usually see more than 1 or 2 together at the same time. Something I'm very grateful for, because I die enough in this game, I don't need more Deathclaws coming at me. Look at the state of my armor on the left there, you can tell. I really like what the game designers were going for when they designed the Deathclaw. I think it's a very, very effective and terrifying element in the game. It's the king of the wasteland, and, you know, its appearance definitely definitely convinces the player of that. And if you get too close, its style of attack will prove it as well. It's not something you want to run into. It's like the equivalent of running into a grizzly bear or even a tiger, great white shark or something in the real world. It's just not something you want to mess with. And being a fan of reptiles myself, I appreciate that the apex predator of Fallout is reptilian. Anyways, that's about it for this episode. Maybe I'll come back and do another look at the Deathclaw and the Radstag later on, once I've got a little more experience doing this program under my belt, but for now, I think that's about it, and we'll just leave this guy to his day of apparently standing and staring at the soil. Oh god, his brother's back. Run!